You are my neighbors, and I just wanted to say hello. I took part in this Zoomposium. It was an artist, researcher, and teacher who tried to define what happens at the intersection of conceptual art and teaching. The teacher said, "My teaching is conceptual art." The artist said, "All art is an intersection." The researcher said, "Conceptual art is art in the form of a syllabus that instructs, directs, and sets the stage, or frame, if you like, to break down the dichotomized relationship between the artist-teacher as divine creature and the audience students as powerless receivers existing only to be transformed by the artist-teacher's magical tricks." Then a voice was heard from the back of the room. "You are all right, all wrong. It's collapsing around us as we speak in this liquid times and age of uncertainty," Zygmunt Bauman said. What's happening in the intersection between conceptual art and teaching is fusion in a moment out of time, or as Adrian Piper titled her book, "Out of Sight, Out of Order." Transformation will drag me down, suck you in and throw you up, hopefully into the air again. In the endless second of transformation, everything is dead. In that moment, we don't know who's who, what's up, what's down. It's conceptual art teaching in action. Hello, you are my neighbors, family, and friends. 1998, I was determined to go to art school and study contemporary art at one of the major universities. It was an achievement to get accepted. Only 10 out of 1,000 applicants were approved worthy to enter the doors into the secret world of contemporary art. I had already been turned down twice. Desperately, I tried to figure out what kind of art they were looking for. I borrowed books at the library, bought catalogs, talked endless with family, friends, and strangers, traveled as much as my money allowed me, went to every exhibition I could, and experimented with my own art to twist it into a conceptual art frame that hopefully would please the professors at the art school. I was already attending an art school in 1998, not at university level and not in contemporary art. It was printmaking, stone lithography to be exact. We were taught how to draw, paint, and print two-dimensional images through the media of lithography. But I was looking for something outside of the image, beyond the relationship of artist do, audience look. Being in an art printing context in the beginning of the era of cheap personal computers, printers, and the internet, I did what the books and exhibitions of conceptual artists had taught me and looked towards easy and accessible art materials. These materials were thrilling and not in line with the art education I was taking part of. You are my neighbors, and I just want to say hello, so hello. 1998, and I lived on a cul-de-sac street. You enter and exit at the same intersection, one way to lead them all. It was the year when I took a conscious leap into the void of conceptual art and teaching. I started my own education in conceptual art and teaching by writing a key sentence on a piece of paper, later to be distributed to all my neighbors. You are my neighbors, and I just want to say hello, so hello. I printed the paper, added a drawing of the cul-de-sac streets, pointed out where I lived and where we as neighbors lived. Photocopied the picture in 58 copies and made stickers with the word, "This is a piece of art," to make sure people understood that this was art, and to make sure I myself also understood this is now part of my educational art practice and future. The importance here being that this art was not only to transform others, but it was also to transform me. It was us living on the street being addressed, not just me living on my street. On March the 10th, 1998, I distributed a copy to each and every one of the 58 households on the streets. My part of the work was done. At that moment, I didn't know or that I was, by this action, placing myself in the intersection where conceptual art crashes into teaching. I had just followed an idea born out of personal necessity to define an art space for myself, experimenting with the concept of meetings and to make an art piece that might please the professors at the Academy of Art. I got 5 answers, 1 phone call, 2 people talking to me on the street, and 2 responses in my mailbox. One of the answers were a drawing made on a postcard depicting a person with a hand raised in the sign of a greeting and the text, "Hello, thanks for the incredible nice art piece." The other one was a text in blue, written with a brush on a piece of fabric, and said, "Hi Fredric, my name is Frida and live top right. Thanks for the letter." Connecting the dots, it's about liberation. What conceptual art brings to teaching in formal institutional educational settings, such as schools and universities, is the knowing of how to create connections through unconventional means and between unconventional parts or partners. Conceptual art brings the element of surprise into often fairly mundane situations or objects. "Hello, you are my neighbors" was never about specific learning outcomes or artistic value. The piece of fabric and the words written on it and the drawing I received in my mailbox are as much art as the initiating art piece itself. It doesn't make any sense to talk about one being more art than the other, since it was the community building and actions that emerged from the meetings that the hello created that mattered. Conceptual artists has since the 1960s and earlier developed ways for people to take part in creative practices without outcomes that is not possible to know beforehand. True experiments with the potential for radical results is what conceptual art in teaching brings. These experiences is of great importance today to be able to make connections and build relationships that can float in time of liquid modernity. Conceptual art in teaching is a bastard, a traitor, instigator, fire starter, and liberator, and will show you what you do not want to know if you are looking for peace and quiet, oblivion. If your intentions are to stay safe within the borders of policy, law, and order, you should never enter the intersection of conceptual art and teaching. It's a rip in the fabric of school reality, an opening between paradigms, ethics, and ideologies from when monsters are let into the world of norms. It's a school fiction come alive. Conceptual art. Teach art to kids knowing there is no way to grade their results, and to be fine with that, since it's an action of rebellion. It is to be the opposition, a pedagogy against the state, as Dennis Atkinson puts it so elegant in his book with the same title. It tells you to ask a friend to shoot you in the arm, not go indoors for a year. Totally trust your life in others. Dress an unknown person by sending him one piece of clothing every Christmas. Stuff your mouth with a bath towel and ride the bus. It teaches you there is always more than one answer to every question on the test, even if the test tells you there can only be one. It's the education of what can be, never straight, unless told to be a curve, then it's straight as hell. You are my neighbors. You are my friends and family. And I just want to say, I love you.